Meanwhile, if I could please invite Dr. Pramod Sant. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. With that, let me also go ahead and invite our panelists meanwhile. May I please invite Shri Makarand Pradhan, Managing Director, Total Transport, to please come on stage, sir. Shri Manoj Singh, Chief Cargo Officer, Adani Airports. Shri Manoj Singh, Chief Cargo Officer, Adani Airports. May I further please invite Shri Behram Sabawala, Chief Strategy Officer, EXG Group. Shri Behram Sabawala, if I could please invite you on stage, sir. May I further please invite Shri Amit Maheshwari, Managing Director, Softlink Global. May I also please invite Shri Yashpal Sharma, Managing Director, Skyways. And may I also please request Mr. Aparaj to please join our panelists on the stage. If I could also request for your presence. Ladies and gentlemen, we really need your attention. We need all your eyeballs and ears focused on the stage. We can take up all the discussion offline a little later, probably towards the evening. But for now, let's have all of your attention for our next business session. While I do appreciate this amount of enthusiasm that's coming in, and thank you so much for being so patient and for keeping that enthusiasm on. But as of now, we still have another business session to begin. So if I could request everyone in the aisle area to please clear up, please take your seats, and let's get our next session started. Now, before I request Dr. Pramod Sant to spearhead the session, while I thank our speakers, I'm going to request you to take your seats. To set the tone about the session, if I could please invite Mr. Harsh Lapsia. I'm going to request you to set this tone. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have all of your attention. Please take your seats. And on that note, to introduce the session, Mr. Harsh Lapsia, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. It's a request if everyone can please take their seats. I know DG sir is just stepped outside, so a few of you all have accompanied him. But all those in the aisle here, I request you to please take your seats. As we get into this very important session, the only thing that I'd like to say, and I won't take much time because we are anyways behind schedule, character is a very crucial element in leadership. And today we are really fortunate and blessed that all the guests that we have, the speakers that we have, they've been so thoughtful, so supportive. We've had to juggle sessions. We've had to actually, as true logisticians, we've had to do a lot of adjustments on the fly because of how the day has transpired. And each of them have been exceedingly cooperative and understanding of the situation that we are in. So thank you very much. This was supposed to be the second session of the day, and which was supposed to end before lunch. But here we are having this at 4:30 now. So I will hand this over to Dr. Pramod Sant, sir, who needs no introduction, and definitely our guests on the dais require no introduction. They are leaders in their own right and in their own might. And it will be a really engaging session for all of us to learn from these gentlemen on the dais. Over to you, Sant, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Harsh. If you have seen, already we have seen one of the very good leadership quality, how to change the session, how to change the moderator, how to shuffle the sessions. I think that is wonderful. That is one of the great quality of the leader, to how to handle the situation. So I think we are quite successful in that. But before I go to my panelists, I wanted to ask the forum that as per you, what are the leadership qualities? Can somebody tell in one word, please? Yeah? Anybody want to say what leadership quality we look into when we talk about leader? What are the qualities? Come on, yeah? Okay, great. Any other?
Someone who's agile.
Yeah, agile, yes. Lead from the front, yes. Any more?
Action over words.
Okay, action. So if you look at now some of these qualities which are mentioned, but what is today's situation? If you look at today's situation, we call the situation as very dynamic. At the time, situation is complex. The situation is continuously changing. New regulations are coming. Customers are demanding more and more. Customer demands are changing. At the same time, there is a lot of pressure to reduce the cost, reduce the dwell time. In addition to that, you have the employees' aspiration, you have new rules coming. Earlier panel we saw that new rules are coming, sustainability is a buzzword. So if you look at leader today, he is overwhelmed with so many requirements. Maybe 5 years back or 10 years back, leader job was much simpler compared to today. He was not facing all these challenges. Whereas today's leader has to look into all these things. He needs to be compliant. He needs to follow the custom rules. He needs to follow the other regulations. He needs to motivate his people. We just had another session on technology. So the leader needs to look into technology. Leader has to innovate. Leader has to lead from front. So many demands are coming on leader. And today I'm really grateful that I have this great panel. Each one is leader. Each one is specialist in his area. And before getting into much, I will go back to my panelists and talk to them that they can give their experience in any all these terms. So I will start with you, Makarand, and and a lot of things we talk about. For example, the transformation of organization, innovation of organization. So maybe you can share your experience.
Thank you, Pramod. First of all, thanks a lot to the management team of the BCBA and Mr. Dushyant Mulani for giving me an opportunity to be here with you. You know, when we talk about a difficult subject like leadership, what we have seen all throughout since morning is the very best of every aspect of leadership. I would start on the course what we have done. You know, I had prepared a nice presentation on leadership, but our earlier moderator was supposed to be Mr. Bhadkamkar. You know, he guided me that instead of going through a presentation on what leadership means or what are the different aspects of leadership, you better describe it in your journey of leadership. And I like the idea. I had never done this earlier, but let me try it out. You know, we started Total Transport Systems in 1994. We are in our 30th year. In 1996, we started our Chennai office. Chennai office, when we started, we had great problems because of language barrier. You know, we are all Maharashtrians, and going to Chennai did not have too many contacts, but we started building upon it. Here, what I'm going to tell you is about the analytical skills, what a leader should possess. You know, we operated the Chennai office for nearly 1 year and 3 months, but being in consolidation, we were not able to close any console boxes. You know, that was a very pity. We did get some import support from our agents, but we never had. Then all the partners, we sat together and we said, you know, what is happening? You know, how can we try to do something? And then we decided that, you know, let us analyze things properly in a perspective where how we can start actually getting into this closing our own console boxes. And you won't believe, with the analysis, with the cargoes which were flowing in and all those things, in the next 3 months, we were at 75 containers, which is a great achievement at that point of time. Except for all cargo, nobody else was at that count, you know. The other good thing which happened to us in 1996, we got the franchisee of WSA. Now, this is the case which I want to bring out, is about perseverance or consistent ability to get into something, you know. WSA, they were represented by All Cargo those days. All Cargo in 1996 was supporting WSA with nearly 200 containers a month. We had just begun, our volume was 12 containers. But our persistent follow-up and to make people understand that their requirement of a partner is us and not a big one, we could succeed. And we got the agency of WSA. So this is the second aspect or the third aspect which I wanted to bring up. Going forward, we progressed, opening up various branches. I would not go through that. In 2005, realizing that, just local Indian presence was not good enough to handle the global freight forwarders. In fact, they would not support us. So what we went on to form is CP World, And in CP World today, we are operating 71 offices in 21 countries. Now, that vision actually paid us, because if we were just local, probably the global freight forwarders would not have supported us. And today, 17 out of the 48 major ones are supporting us. So what we started in 2005, we got the benefits probably starting from 2018, 2019. So it's a long preparation that we had to do and get it. So again, this is a vision that we had, and that paid off. Realizing that in 2010 that only our CP World, we do not have enough bandwidth to open up more offices, we went on to start iCargo Alliance along with Eurasia from China. Today we have presence in 212 cities, 112 countries. So again, this has helped us. Today, we started this in 2010. Today, we are in 2024, and we see that we have more number of global accounts supporting us because our network has increased. It's a sheer increase of network. So again, this is the example of the vision that we would like to tell. Now here I come at 2012. While our journey is not only full of successes, we had our own dips and tremendous amount of dips. Here we are talking about perseverance, teamwork, and the trust between partners. In 2012, we started a CFS. This was this CWC Impact Park, and we started doing well. One more lesson, that we should not be greedy. We tried to overtrade, and in 2013, we took another CFS of CWC to run, and we lost heavily. So one example of handling failures, we had tremendous amount of problems. We lost a lot of money. However, the trust, the belief that we can come over all these problems really helped us to overcome those situations and come out of it. In 2017, we went public, and we could then manage to keep on increasing our volumes, increasing the types of business. We learned from our failure where to stop, what to do, how to consolidate our position. So that is one more thing which I thought is very, very important in a leader. In 2017, when we went public, I'm very happy to say that our IPO was oversubscribed 130 times, even with posting a loss in the earlier year. So that's the goodwill again what was created. And again, I would say it is all of you. You are our customers, and you have been a backbone of our support. And the great support that you gave us really helped us to propel further. In 2018, we went on to start sourcing from China. We did sourcing for chemicals. We did sourcing for electronic items, gift articles, and all those things. It was a very slow start because of COVID coming forward, but today it has stabilized. In 2019, we took on a very ambitious project of going into last mile deliveries. Today we service these for Amazon, Flipkart, JioMart and Tata Click. My partner Srikanth, he takes care of this, and we are nearly 4 billion deliveries a month, which is a great achievement, I call, in just 6 years. So this is about our journey. Going back, one last example I would talk about in the Corona time, when all the consolidators had problems, our planning and execution was so perfect that we were the only company who did not charge any additional storages on the imports. Because we had planned earlier, we had taken additional space in the CFS, we have had transport arrangements done, we have had paid for the extra days, free days to the shipping lines, and that is one of the reasons we did not have to pay and we did not charge to the customers. So that is again a great planning and execution from our team. Every team member took it as a challenge to ensure that we don't face any problems like this. Last but not the least, 2023, when everyone's volumes were the lowest, I would say. Our volumes for LCL export, for LCL import, and for LCL and for FCL export were the highest. So this goes to show that, the percentage of cargo that we control is very minimal compared to, the whole import-export. So even if the trade goes down, it is not necessary that we have to get bogged down with it. We have to work on our strategies. We have to work on our intelligence and our strengths, and I'm sure we can put more volumes on the table. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Makarand. See, what he explained is very interesting, that leadership is a journey. It started from 1994 to 2024, and this journey, at every point of time, there are new challenges, new skills are used. Analytical skill, transformation, persistence. Things cannot happen the way which it requires some time. It requires a vision. And there are failures within that. And how you will learn from your failure will help you to have a new success level. So, Makarand, it was a great journey. This is a very good idea, that how one leader has seen 30 years and how he has grown with IPO and which got oversubscribed. Very nice journey. I think this is one of the leadership essentials we have heard from Makarand. Now I come to you, Manoj. I have seen Manoj when he joined Mumbai International Airport. We were always having troubles with airport authority and a lot of issues were there. And Manoj transformed that airport into a really modern, timely commitments, new things started. So Manoj, can you elaborate leadership skill required and how you use them? And what are your learnings?
Am I audible? Good evening, everyone. I know it's we were supposed to speak on the second session, but of course, as you rightly mentioned, there was a jugglery, the change of pattern from third session to second session, second to the fourth one. Oh, that's part of our system, actually. So we are capable to do any kind of challenges, spot management as well. So thank you, Pranji. I think this is something which is very close to the heart about the leadership, which I wanted to really thank BCBA to organize such a lovely conclave for a one-day session, very impactful and very focused area, digital to leadership to transformation. I think it's covering all subjects. So I would not talk much on anything related to a cargo or a logistics. Of course, everyone, since morning, everyone is speaking about it. I would really touch upon very critical element, what the leadership should be, and the learning lessons which I had in the last few years. But I would really touch upon few important aspects, which is quite interesting, and I'm sure this next 10 minutes will be quite impactful because that has impacted me, and I would really like to share the same thing which will impact the future leaders and the existing leaders. And there are entrepreneurs who are here. They were leaders, they started off their journey and they become an entrepreneur. But as an entrepreneur, you need to have a leadership skill which is needed for a success for the entire industry. So, to begin with, I think it's very, very important for every leader, be it an entrepreneur or a leader or a CEO of a company, they should not do the job what they're doing today. They need to really empower your team to do the job what they have done today. They have to look forward for doing something different in the future. And that's where the leadership keeps on evolving and the organization, the industry grows. If a leader tries to do the same repetition of the job, he is not a leader. He would be a leader called, but he cannot be called as a successful leader. So first, leave it aside what you have been doing till date. You have delivered. Give it to your team to empower. And that's the first basic quality which we need to do. The second most important aspect is the humility factor is something which we lose in the end of our journey of success, that the humility factor keeps on diminishing. So that's the most important thing. And when we really look into that aspect, I think you become more a strong listener, and then you start delivering. Because as a leader, we start losing the chin of, listening to others actually. So the most important thing is, are we really working on the listening habits? And I'm sure in this forum, try to really do the self-reflection. We intend to, not to, intend to learn from others. We try to dominate on our subjects. Our dominations where, I feel that I've got 30 years of experience, I'm doing the right thing. Your experience can count, but a down-level staff, or I would say a very junior staff, can come out with an innovation which will be a game changer for the organizations. So please respect your team, respect your experience, but at the same time, try to engage them. So I will talk, another important aspect is about the purpose. The most important aspect is, what is the real purpose of life? As a leader, when we talk about what is the purpose of your life? So it's a very simple question, but very difficult to answer. Can anyone tell a purpose of your life? Anyone in this forum? Single, 2 sentence. It's a difficult question. Live happily. Purpose of your life. Empathy. No, means a sentence. What's the purpose? So, just to cut it short, because we have a paucity of time, but there are certain good examples which I would like to. Nobody on this earth has kept his son name as Shakuni. I shared with my team in Danu, but I keep on repeating this. This is a very important aspect. Have you heard anywhere in the world we have kept the name of your child as Shakuni? Yes or no? No. Why? Because we saw on Sunday, Doordarshan, 11 o'clock, Mahabharata, we created that perception. Correct? This perception is a big myth, and we need to come out of it as a leader. Because we listen to things what has been shared to you, but we don't do the introspection, we don't do our assessment, we don't do a complete check what exactly the reality is. Shakuni was the main hero of Mahabharata. He came from Gandhar back to the Hastinapur to take revenge of his family who had killed 400 people across the family. For 2 years, he saw the suffering of his family. He was the last to be spared by Dhritarashtra, to spare him because he was the youngest in the family. But he came back with the purpose of his life, to take a revenge. And before he was leaving to Gandhar, his father told, I'll remove your one eye and take care of, I will damage one of your legs, so that you will remember there's a purpose of your life to be alive, to take revenge of 400 family members who were killed in the last 2 years, and you have seen the suffering of it. So very important, he had a purpose of life. That's why he came back, and the whole drama which we saw in Mahabharata, please have a look, that he was the main hero of taking the revenge of his family who were killed because of zero reasons for it. So that's where the one purpose of life. So purpose is the most important as a leader. We need to really define ourselves. So that's very, very important. Then we talk about India. India had 2 major impact. Mark my words, 2 major impact. That's why we were ruled by Mughals for 800 years and more than 250 years by the Britishers. One single error, because we never looked into the future aspect. The leader, you mentioned about digitization, we mentioned about lot many aspects on innovations. The Genghis Khan, he came to India almost 10 times, but he failed because we were very sharp and very strong in bow and arrow. But he went back. He went on an innovation where he conquered the whole world, but he couldn't conquer India. He came out with an idea that this is a time where I need to really think about India, because India is a country where people are having a different mindset. But where they were lacking was about futuristic approach. You will be surprised that the first logistics communication channel was done by Genghis Khan in his time. He had across the world, every 100 kilometers, a communication channel. And he reduced the bow and arrow to almost 30% or 40% of the size. And with his own horse, he converted that into an innovation with a much lighter, much faster, and much more impactful. Because he was very clear that if I don't change, I cannot change the world. That's why he kept on doing those innovations. As a leader, we need to really look after your people as well. So what he did was, about communication, about innovations, he went on trying to see how to safeguard his team members. So he started wearing, along with his team, a silk costumes wherein they will fight, and the impact of bow and arrow will have 80% reduction to the blood sucking. So these small innovations were brought in by him. Please read the leadership quality, what he did. There were many things to learn for a company to really grow, because that's where the ideas of innovations comes in. So just to sum it up, it's very, very important when we look upon as 2047 as a future strong India. We need to have very important qualities. A very good team, very strong team. You need to have an empathy of a purpose where, you need to give a solution to your customer which is not unarticulated, not being unheard about it, and we give those solutions which is never in the competition environment. So that's where you come as an edge, as a leader, because your company will only drive when the leaders drive with the team. It cannot be leaders alone in the fray of success. So to make it very, very clear from my perspective, it's very important that these are important qualities which we need to really keep on harping, and please communicate to your team members. Always have a collaboration effort. And that's where the whole success story comes about. So I have done in my organizations, we keep on doing that. As Adani Group, we are building nations. That's our key objective of our life. So as every Adanians, we have more than 45,000 employees across every sectors we are into. What makes us stronger is that we build with people. We come out with, we are very courageous. I think many of the projects which we have taken, none have taken of the groups. But as a group, we have been in the forefront to take not only for India, but we are going all over the world. We're trying to see that how we can really give to the nation, to the world, a progressing requirement, which basically from our industry, we talk about logistics, but we are strong on every aspect of our business. So we continue to try that. But yes, the leadership matters and people matters. So we need to really have a top-down approach, but bottom-up approach as well. So this is a continuous effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj. Very interesting. So each panelist is bringing some really different views about leadership. Listening is very important. Then the empowering team. Generally, everybody wanted to keep something with him. People don't want to share their knowledge. People want to keep the powers with them. But unless you leave your job to somebody else is doing, then you cannot grow. This is very important. That your job is taken by somebody, then you are able to do a better job, which is very important. And the collaboration, innovation, futuristic view. And one more thing which you have not mentioned, but from your thing I learned, the leader needs to tell the stories which will give you the really meaning and messages. So 2 good stories which you told, we got the message, and it's very wonderful.
So one more important aspect, one about Mughal entered through this because we lost many wars from the Afghan border. But from West Bengal, when we lost to Britishers, it was one single error. It was monsoon. We were not prepared for explosive to keep. And the Britishers, they kept, the East India Company kept the entire explosive in a shed. It was like purely how do we take care of our cargo. So the entire logistic was well taken care of. One error, we lost that battle. East India Company came in, they ruled us for 200 years. So every minute in your organizations, do not ignore the micro-related issues in your organization because you lose in a big way. That's why we suffered a lot because of these two aspects.
Yeah, thank you. Another thing is give something to customer which he has not anticipated or which he will feel that something which is earlier never thought about getting. So this is a very important thing. I come to you, Behram. You are strategy officer. So I wanted you to, when you will talk, I wanted you to talk on the strategy, what leader is talking about, strategy or vision, and what you feel, what is essential for a leader. Over to you.
Thanks, Pramod. It's strange that when I now am with a consulting assignment with the Express Group, I am asked to talk about strategy. I'm actually a chartered accountant. I consider myself a CA gone wrong because at this stage of my career, I feel that anything other than finance and accounting is something that I'd be interested in dabbling in. But leadership is such a vast subject, and if we'd let Manoj go on for another 10 minutes, I think he would have covered everything else that the rest of us would have wanted to say. So I'm glad I'm third in this lineup. I made many notes, but I think I'm just going to throw them all away for the reason that we talked a lot through the day today of technology and automation and the digital world that we are now faced with. At the core, as Nilesh said in the previous session, logistics is all about people. And you can talk as much as you want about tech. There has to be a person behind it that is driving whatever the tech is intended to achieve. So if you talk about logistics and people, it's strange that in the many conversations I had outside this room through the day, a lot of the owners of companies stressed the challenge of operating a company in the supply chain and logistics space where your customers treat you as vendors. And the vendor term is generally regarded derogatorily. So what do? We come back to our companies and we treat our people the way our customers have treated us. So it gets into a whirlpool where nobody wins. I'd like to ask how many people who run their own companies are lonely at the top? And I would guess that if the answers are honest, it would be close to 100%. How many of us who sit in offices keep our doors open? How many of us have glass-fronted cabins with no blinds? How many of us are therefore breaking down perceived barriers to communication? How many of us are so-called leaders who are now surrounded by people who have nothing to say because we've never encouraged them to say anything? And in terms of listening, how many of us have created that environment where the junior-most person in your organization has a fearless attitude to come across and probably give you a gem of an idea that none of your board of directors will ever have thought of? And these are the questions that I think we must ask ourselves. We have today entered an age that is probably best described by the phrase digital dementia. We are engaged with the mobile phone, and I see a lot of people in the audience even now making that point valid. We are engaged with this phone on an average more than 4 to 5 hours a day. If you check your mobile phones, all of you now, and you go to screen time, take a look at what that average is. And that is time that you have failed to spend with your teams and your people. I was shocked the other day when I met a young colleague from a previous company, and she was constantly on the phone, though we were at a lunch to send one of our colleagues off to Bangalore. Constantly on the phone. And I asked her, what is your average screen time? It was 11 hours, 46 minutes. And she was probably awake for maybe 16 hours or 18 hours, and this was more than 50% of that. Now, of course, she could say, I do a lot of my work on the phone, but I'm not sure how many of you in the last 5 minutes have checked your screen time and been shocked by it. So let us use tech the way tech is meant to be used, and let us spend more time with our people, because many of our teams are actually craving that attention. And that attention span today is an average of only 45 seconds. For a particular topic, people are scrolling all the time. Instagram and Snapchat and what have you. So coming back to the subject, I would say in terms of being a true leader, how are your teams enthused to engage with you? How have you created that situation where a person can come and challenge you without your being impacted to a level where you will snap at that person and that person will never have anything to say to you again? Also, in terms of the organizations that we run, how do we review? How do we spend time one-on-one with people who may not directly report to us? Many people run organizations and say, these are my families, right? I have a family here, and we do it at Express as well. But I'd like to create a distinction between family and team. If you've riled your parents and you're relatively young at the time, is your mother not going to put dinner on the table for you if you've upset her? Chances are not. However, in teams, we should all be accountable for specific metrics which are measurable and help us add the value to the organization that we represent. So that's the other important distinction that I'd like to make. And I'd also like to say how important communication is to this entire subject of leadership. In terms of communication, how often is not as important as what the quality of that communication is. And I'd really enthuse each of us here to spend that one-on-one time that will encourage people to then do it with their respective teams as well. So, logistics is a people business. It will always remain a people business. Yes, we should automate. We should get tech in as much as possible. But I don't think we should ever lose sight of the fact that anything that we use in terms of a phone or a computer is meant to be used less perhaps than we are currently doing. So I'd just like to leave that one point with each of us in terms of the amount of time that we spend on our phones versus the amount of time that we should be spending with our people.
Thank you. Thank you, Behram. I think you brought in some very important points which are there, how to create the environment and use the technology to required bare minimum, but connect with more with people, and definitely the team, which is very important in this. So thank you for that. Now I come to you, Amit. He has mentioned one very important point, that technology to be used to the required range. Don't overuse it, more connect with people. You are a technology person. So I just wanted your view, how a leader and the technology implementation, how you will use as to grow the company or to innovate, and how to motivate people.
Thank you, Pramod ji, and thank you BCBA as well as Dushyant bhai and everyone for inviting me over here. More than the technology, I always feel the people, the leader is all about the people. That is always my take, because technology is just a facilitator. So for me, the leadership is all about unlearning, because as I grew, many of you know me personally, that I started alone, and then I grew to 10 people, then I grew to 25 people, then I grew to 100 people, and now we are 180 people. So how this journey was, it is completely unlearning, because when I was 10 people, I was doing everything on my own. I was completely hands-on. Everything was being done by me. Then I grew to 25 people. I had people who were taking care of individual departments. And then I grew, but still I was micromanaging at that time. I was making sure that everything happens. Then I grew to 100 people. Now I am having departmental head, middle management, a lot of people in between, a lot of communication, formal communication channels have been established. So a lot of things are happening. But now, again, we are on cusp, because 100, 180 people, similar approach. But now we are poised to grow to 200 and above. What it will be? Again, I'm back to the drawing board, because I have to come out of all the day-to-day operations. I have to concentrate on only the strategy part. But before that happens, I need to have this proper system, processes, and there the technology, of course, comes in. Because only the technology will be able to make sure that whatever my customer aspirations are, because many of my customers use my systems right from the beginning. 30 years they have been trusting us. We have to ensure that we give the same level of service to everyone. So this is what is all about. Unlearn, learn, change the processes. Because leadership, how I started, cannot remain same forever. That is the one thing what I see in change in our own. Another thing what I saw was, when I started, I was only in Mumbai. Then I started in Delhi. Then I started in Chennai. And now today we are in over 15 countries. I have offices in more than 15 countries. And we are serving customers from over 45 countries. There is a complete change, because there is a lot of cultural difference. The people in Mumbai is completely different than Delhi, and then in Chennai, and then in Philippines or Singapore or US or Sweden or whatever, wherever we go. So again, that is what is again unlearn and learn, because most of the time we forget that leadership is not all about, one size fit all, because there is a lot of cultural changes which we have to incorporate. And I am witnessing it that, today we are, opening office in Europe. Their people are completely different. And it was eye-opening for me when around 8 years back, I started my Philippine office. I saw the people over there are completely different. They need to be treated in a completely different way. So again, I will emphasize that agility, flexibility, listening, as other panelists pointed out, they are very important, because leadership is all about people. It is not about technology. And another thing which I will like to point out is, which I have inculcated in myself, that I never say yes when I want to say no. Because that has helped me to establish the credibility, not only among the customers, but also, with my, whether it's team members, whether it is vendors, everyone, that I'm never going to say yes if I want to say no. So this is what is, and I will borrow one word which I learned from Shantanu ji yesterday, that redundant. The long-term leadership is all about making ourselves completely redundant in the organization. And that is what is the true leader all about. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit. Great. Very good insight and really unlearning and learning. I think this is the one. And you also brought emphasis on process. If you wanted to take more responsibility, you want to grow, then you need a processes in place so that the team can do the work. And very important point, say no if it is not possible. Never say yes with compulsion. I think this is what you do. And in logistic fraternity, I think this is a very important lesson which we need to do, is that if it is not possible, when we have to say no. I mean, this is very important, because something will not be possible. We will try our best, but if it is no, it is no. So very good, very important point which Amit you got. Now I come to you, Yashpal. You are the youngest in this, and the new generation of a leader, which is making mark across. So I wanted to hear your story about what are leadership essential which you see, and whether you see any changes from past, and how you are handling this leadership new essentials.
Thank you, Pramodji. I'm not as young as I look, so don't go with my age, with my look for my age. It's really been very heartening, very enriching to listen to the four gentlemen here. Some very, very nice quotes about their own lives, and some great learnings for myself from whatever I heard from the four gentlemen before me. I am a second-gen entrepreneur in our business. My father started this business 41 years ago. For me, leadership is all about, knowing your current capability. And when I talk about the current capability, I will talk about three things. Number one is about your infra. Number two is about your people. And number three is about your financials. Knowing, addressing, and then being able to optimize the outcome of these three for your business. Just to simplify what I mean, so if you know what you have and you're able to achieve the outcome as a leader of what you expect the capability of these three resources is a good leader. When I talk about infra, so I mean your probably your facilities, your equipments, your digital capabilities, your processes. When I talk about people, obviously your team, yourself, and of course, no business can run, survive, grow without your financials. So when you do a measurement of what you have, of these three elements, and say, for example, you come to X that you think as a leader your business should achieve. So if you're able to achieve that, which is generally an outcome in terms of your sales capability, you are a good leader. Okay? All the other elements are actually just byproducts of it. So for me, that's the first part of a good leader. The second part of being a good leader is constantly being able to look at what your business needs for tomorrow and upgrading these three capabilities. So if you as a leader are able to see what your business needs tomorrow, and you're able to upgrade your capability in terms of your infra, people, as well as finance, you will continue to be relevant in the future. So for me, this has been the key element, whether it is about a business, whether it is about a sports team, whether it is about an association. So if you know what your current capabilities are, so first as a leader, whenever you get a position, the first and foremost thing that you need to do is to know what your current resources are. And then being able to sync those resources with your long-term vision, short-term milestones, and then being able to make sure that your available resources are actually able to function the way you want them to function to achieve your desired results. So these for me are an absolute two main critical things. All other things, whether it is the use of technology, whether it is the use of your resources, everything will fall in line the moment you're able to connect into this. So this is my first and foremost thing about leadership. A good leader cannot be a good leader if the outcomes are not right. You can be the best leader in the world, you can call yourself the best leader in the world, but if you're not result oriented, if you can't get results, historically you will never remember a leader who was the best leader of the world but had no outcomes to show. Okay? So everything is a byproduct. So you must be able to very, very clearly understand the capabilities around you, build on them, and achieve results. So for me, results is absolutely the key. And I think over the last 3 decades, I'm close to 3 decades in this industry now, so I'm not as young. We managed to constantly up what we've had. When I joined this industry as a 20-year-old boy, we were 17 people. We are 1,000 plus today. We are present in 60 plus cities in 8 countries, across 15 companies, air freight being the largest forwarder of India. So it's all because we've constantly looked at these 3 elements, synced everything that we had, and made sure we achieve the results that are required. One more thing I would just like to say before I hand over to the next gentleman. A lot of times we are trying to create that macro picture looking at a long-term vision, and what we disconnect from ourselves is the micro picture. A macro can only be achieved if your micros are right. And a business leader, you can only remain the leader of your group, your company, your team, your association, till the time you have the power, your energy to go to the micro level. The moment you disconnect from the micros, hand over to somebody else who can do that connect for you. Because if you don't have that capability of going to the micro level constantly, you will not remain relevant in very quick time. So if you want to remain relevant for tomorrow, keep the capability on of going at a micro level. The day you see that you cannot do, hand over to somebody else to take over.
Thank you. Yashpal, excellent perspective. I mean, you know your current capabilities with infra, people, financial, and how to manage the micro. I mean, in a very interesting perspective. So if you look at every panel member has come out with a different set of skills required, essential for the leaders. So I wanted to thank them. Our time is up, but I'm open for, I will request one question, allow one question from the participants here. So anybody, one question? Yeah, so one is that, yeah.
So my question rather, or narrative which we would want from Mr. Manoj Singh is, having seen him grow from a cargo hardcore operations person to being groomed as a group leader and a CEO with a top-notch group which is in cargo and logistics today. What is the change of mindset which you had while unlearning your earlier assignments or your postings which you had? And what is a single message with the kind of intense training which we know today that you are going through with the likes of Mr. Ramcharans and the Captain Raghurams? Very short narrative if you can give, it will be wonderful for the audience and all of us.
Thank you, Dushyant. Yes, it's been a very impactful 2023 for us. In fact, for our the entire cargo department for Adani Group, as far as the airport is concerned, because we had got we got on board 2 good, strong leaders. We got Pradeep Sunar taking care of Mumbai Airport, and recently got Suresh Nair, come from Oman, earlier with Oman Air. So we're building a team, and it's very, very important. Our training, which when this is called a fulcrum training, which is one of the unique kind of training which Gautam Bhai had really identified the leaders across the Adani group. I would talk about 26 companies across, and they selected 22 leaders to drive and get into an impactful training, which is very unique of its kind. Nowhere in the world such kind of customized training was imparted. We were 120 days away from home. So you can imagine every immersion had a different perspective, be it digital training, operation module, a trauma training which went. We drove in Northeast 1700 kilometers on a Himalayan bike just to ensure the leaders have a mental, physical strength to take care of any eventualities. So, you know, our group has been more on disruption journey. Wherever we want to be in any infra or any businesses, we intend to dive first. So that's where the whole DNA of Adani Group is all about. They create that passion among the team. The leaders cannot come on board just having a strong CV. They need to deliver. And of course, when a leader is appointed in our group, there is no honeymoon period actually. So you need to start from the day one. And we are in an expansion mode where the company is going into a different scale of expansion across the globe. They need at least more than 200 CEOs. And across the world, the strong leadership paucity is huge. And within the company, when you create that culture of leaderships, you're building an own DNA across the group. So when we want to hire a CEO or a leader from across outside the world, we need to really see that within the family, whether the leader is capable to do. And that's where the whole vision and the objective started off. So this journey of training, you know, it's a combination of reading 100 books, getting into more than 15 projects, individual group projects, plus moving across every businesses of Adani, wherein we went to the port, we went to the mining, we went to deep dive into almost 400-500 meters down to the mining. Across every leaders went. We went for a blast. We went personally have been there to blast some through dynamites to get the mining experience. So we were there for 7 hours inside the mine. We went to Milan to work and understand the framework of design thinking. You know, across the world, we think about what the world is all about. When we say any big brand, wow, we went to Ferrari, we went to Ducati, we went to Behram, the companies where the innovations were not now. It's been 200 years, 150 years. I can see the first bike of Ducati on a cycle mode, which we see a bicycle, but they had a small motor. So imagine the innovation and a journey. From that journey to the fastest bike on the earth is being innovated by Ducati, and they have been the market leaders for the last 10 years. I've seen the first Ferrari and the latest Ferrari. It has the innovations of almost 360 degree. Why this happened? Because they end up understanding the customer's requirement. A customer where they had never seen the solutions, they entered into that journey. Today, when a Ferrari, when you talk about, there is a sound mindset. A customer, he doesn't listen to that sound variation, he will not buy a Ferrari. So they know that the DNA of Ferrari is all about the sound. Now there is a disruption about electric vehicle. The world knows there is a complete change of technology which is coming up. You won't believe last 1.5 years they're working on innovation that even if it is an EV vehicle, they'll create a sound mindset. So they don't want to lose their customers. They're very passionate about their customers. So as a logistician, we understand that I'm sure everyone is working towards their customers for almost so many years. And that's where you've been retaining the customers. Why? Because you're giving solution day in and day out. So here, when I saw the Ferrari experience, the attrition level of that company is not even 1%, 0.01%. Nobody leaves that company. Why? Because they feel that the company is like a family. And they know what Yash mentioned about all 3 aspects are taken care of. But their vision is very clear. They want to be the number 1 in every aspect. So a journey what we saw our country, please visit Northeast. When we drove from Guwahati to Kohima, coming back to Cherrapunji and coming back, the journey when it started off, we were thrown into a mental trauma. Mark my words, we flew down from Mumbai to Guwahati, and within 2 hours we had given only 15 minutes for to have lunch, and we were not given any kind of schedules. We were told you had a complete safety gears, and we were given a Himalayan bike. 20 years back I had drone, but many of the guys were driving for the first time. They learned just 15 days before that. 250 kilos of Himalayan bike, going to the Guwahati city straight in the peak hour in the evening, and we knew that somebody is going to fall, somebody is going to break his legs. But mark my words, during that journey, it just came out of my mind, and why not we gather together as a leader? We shook hand of each other, embraced ourselves, and said none of them was going to fall. 70 kilometers going to the extreme end of the Brahmaputra river, where we had a commanding officer, a lady commanding officer taking care of the security aspect of the whole region. She was supposed to give a fire chat inputs to us on a small ship which was governed by the Ministry of Defense. And we drove to almost 70 kilometers, coming back 140 kilometers within the Guwahati in the peak hours, and by 9:30, 10 o'clock we came back. And the kind of stress we had, we had every trauma of our life. Imagine one guy had a fall, but it was absolutely no hurt. But one thing we learned about it, we went to Dauki, the cleanest water on the earth. Dauki is a border between India and Bangladesh. It is a narrow road of, not even 5 meters. Why I'm talking about this? That, I had I would have lost my life, just to share. For few seconds, I thought the bus going to hit me and I'm no more. But it was my mental strength, which I've experienced a lot, what I experienced in Mumbai, with so many unions to handle and kind of thing which I hadn't experienced. So that really gave my experience to become more stronger. So I shifted the bike and then moved on the other side. Otherwise, I would have not been here to speak to you today. But that gave me a journey of an experience that really gave me a transformation. So that when we came back after 10 days on the last journey, you won't believe we drove 380 kilometers at one stretch on a Himalayan bike, and the way we moved, the journey of the first day from Guwahati to multiple places, we were haphazard. But when we came as a leader, it was called as a wolf ride. When we came back 380 kilometers, we were bang on coming back to the hotel safe and secure. So that's where the journey of our leadership comes in. It gives you a pattern of discipline, perception about how we as a team can deliver. And that's where we were told that we should be safe, secure, and come back at one go. The last journey was a challenging one, but mark my words, the first day and the last day really make changes. So I think there are many things to share about every immersion, but one thing, very, very important thing which we learned was purity of thought is needed for a leader. You need to be very, very clear on your clarity of what you give to your team, what is the vision of the company and a key objective. And of course, cash flow, Yash mentioned always financial is important, but the last one is caring of your people. Very, very important. If you don't take care of it, you will lose the entire chin of your business. So we need to keep on continuing, engaging, communicating from a very competitive environment to very friendly environment it needs to be. But at the same time, you need to do your checks as well. So I think it's very, very important. A leader can only happen when a commanding officer is been seen by the soldier that my boss told me to jump, I will jump because he has got a trust. Same way lies that the leader on the top, commanding officer, has to believe in his people. He will ensure that my decisions are perfect, my team is not going to hurt. I think it's a very, very clear definitions. As mentioned that Logistic is all about people. I think that's the main key driver for our success. I think together in collaborations, we have seen a journey of 15 years back. Every association is in silo. Today, when we talk about ACFI, we talk about BCBA, we talk about FFI, everyone, I'm so glad to see that, the objective is very clear. How can we give solution to our customers? I think that journey has almost gone to a very positive note. I think the future is very, very safe for our India. And 2047, President and Chairman of AAA, Dushan has been driving it. Of course, the past presidents have also delivered. I think the journey will keep on doing, and it's all about engaging and keeping it alive together. Thank you.
So, thank you, Manoj. So, with this, I really wanted to thank BCBA for organizing wonderful discussion on leadership. I'm sure everybody has got something to take from the experience and essentials of leadership, which my panelists made. So, I wanted to be really thankful for such a wonderful panel. I think we have really done our best to give the inputs. So, thank you, panelists, and thank you, BCBA and President Dushan Mulani ji. Thank you.
Before we move on to the felicitations, just quick couple of points that on behalf of many of us here. At BCBA and FFAI, we are fortunate that a lot of the points which were spoken by many of our panelists here are implemented by all of our seniors. So whether what was spoken in terms of allowing the others to do work, whether it's our president, our vice presidents, they have been pushing the youngsters at the forefront at every avenue, whether it's the department, whether it's in any forum. Even today, just to give you all an example, our Vice President Vinayak Bhai, he had his speech ready, but the moment, because he was tied up in certain other commitments for this function, he said, "Nahi, you go on stage and you speak." Same with our president or all our other seniors. Giving the youngsters an opportunity, putting them in the hot seat, and keeping us prepared for a lot of the challenges that we face is something which we are really proud to feel as a part of the association. And this session has been really, really inspiring and really interesting. I'm sure we could have had an entire day on leadership considering the content which each of them have to share. But again, due to paucity of time, we really have to transit to the next session. I'll invite Kavya to take over for the felicitations, and then we'll quickly request everyone to stay with us because we'll have we'll have the next session immediately after this.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Harsh. And on that note, I'd like to thank our amazing and esteemed panelists as well, as you all came together to define leadership within the industry and also set the tone for the new age leadership. With that, let me move ahead. And first up, please invite on stage Shri Kiran Rambia, who's the immediate past president. If I could please invite Shri Kiran Rambia to please come on stage to please felicitate Shri Makarand Pradhan. So I request you to please come on stage to kindly felicitate Shri Makarand Pradhan. On that note, thank you very much, Mr. Rambia. Thank you for felicitating. May I now please invite Shri Manohar Patiane to please come on stage to please felicitate Shri Manoj Singh. And may I also please invite Mr. Sudeep Dey to please come on stage along with Mr. Manohar Patiane. Thank you very much. On that note, may I now please march ahead to invite on stage Mr. Sanjay Shingote and Mr. Vinod Sharma. If I could please invite Mr. Sanjay Shingote and Mr. Vinod Sharma to please come on stage and felicitate Shri Behram Sabawala. And now, may I please invite on stage Mr. Ketan Desai and Mr. Sudeep De to please come on stage and to please felicitate Shri Amit Maheshwari. May I kindly request Shri Amit Maheshwari to please step forward, sir? And if I could please request Mr. Ketan Desai and Mr. Sudeep De to please felicitate Shri Amit Maheshwari. And on that note, may I now please invite Mr. Kaushal Thakkar and Mr. Dinesh Gupta to please come on the stage to also please felicitate Shri Yashpal Sharma. May I please invite Mr. Kaushal Thakkar and Mr. Dinesh Gupta to please come on stage. And now may I please invite on stage Mr. Sailesh Bhatia. I request Mr. Sailesh Bhatia to please come on stage and please join Mr. Vinayak Aparaj to felicitate our session moderator, Dr. Pramod Sant. So I request Mr. Sailesh Bhatia and Mr. Vinayak Aparaj to please felicitate Dr. Pramod Sant. On that note, if I could request all the panelists, all the speakers to come together for a group photograph. And meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, as Mr. Harsh Lapsia had also informed, that we have another business session curated for all of you. Our next session is all about championing stability and continuity in business. Again, a very pertinent session lined up. So I'm going to request everyone to be seated so that we can go ahead and invite our speakers on stage and get the